Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be solving LeetCode 451, sort characters by frequency. So we're given a string S. We need to sort it in decreasing order based on the frequency of the characters. The frequency of a character is the number of times it appears in the string, and we need to return the sorted string. If there are multiple answers, we can return any of them. Okay, so how can we go about solving this? We take a look at example 1. They give us a string S with the word tree, and they give us an output of EERT. Right? E appears twice while R and T both appear once. So as long as we put E before either R and T, we can get a correct output. So how can we solve this? Well, again, we can use bucket sort to solve this problem, right? So we'll get a count of all of the characters in the string, put them in their corresponding frequency bucket, and then loop backwards through our buckets, and then append, if we run into E, which occurs 5 times, for example, we'll append that to an output array 5 times. And then we'll just keep going while we have no more buckets, until we have no more buckets to go through. So we'll say the counts is going to be equal to the counter of S, and we will say our buckets is going to be equal to an empty array, and we are going to have a bucket for I in range length of S plus 1. Now we need to loop through and say for word and the count in counts.items. What are we going to do? We are going to say buckets of the count, right? We're going to add the word to that bucket. So let's print out our buckets to see what we have. And we can see we have nothing that occurs 0 times, right? Makes sense. T and R both occur 1 time, right? Because they're in the first bucket. E occurs twice because it's in the third bucket, right? E occurs twice. R and T both occur once. So it looks like we're on the right track so far. Now what? Well, now all we have to do is have an output array, obviously, and like I said, we're going to have a pointer. We'll initially point it to this bucket. If this bucket contains letters in it, right? Let's go down to this E bucket. If it contains letters in the bucket, we're going to add all of those letters to our resulting output array. What number is this? 0, 1, 2. So we're going to add this letter 2 times to our resulting output array. So whatever the frequency of the bucket is how many times we have to add each character inside of this bucket to our output array. So we'll say pointer is going to be equal to the length of buckets minus 1. And we are going to do a loop while our pointer is greater than or equal to 0. What are we going to do? We're going to check if the bucket's empty. So if buckets of pointer is not equal to 0, right? If the length of buckets pointer is not equal to 0, we are going to do something. What are we going to do? We're going to say, okay, for every character inside of this bucket's pointer, we are going to append that character to our resulting output array. How many times do we have to do it though, right? Well, our pointer is keeping track of whatever frequency bucket we're at. So we can say res.append the character times the pointer. So if we're at bucket 1, right, it'll append T 1 time and R 1 time. It'll append E twice if we're at the third bucket here. And after this, we can decrement our pointer by 1, so we can keep going through our buckets. And then at the end, we are going to have to return a string join of our resulting output array. So we'll say string join res, and this is looking pretty good, so we will run this. Perfect, we pass both test cases, so we'll submit. Awesome. So bucket sort time and space complexity for this problem is going to be O of n. Alright, that'll do it for LeetCode 451.